Peace and blessings, world, and welcome to another edition of Fresh Perspective, where we give you a fresh look on this week's hot topics. And there's no hotter topic than the selection of the top four college football teams, who's going to get to play for it all. But before we get into it, I'm your host, Irvin Hawkins. I'd like to introduce the panel today. We got the great orator and tactician, my friend and yours, Mr. D. Burtz. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, everybody? The Georgia Bulldogs are in. They made the cut. Blueprint. We are in the fold.
All right, and we got the young and talented Mr. Denzel Chappelle. Courtney, how you feeling, my brother?
I'm good, world. Unfortunately, my Trojans didn't.
Okay, and we also got the blueprint, Jeremy Flanagan. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling good, feeling great.
All right, all right.
Championship weekend was awesome. Let's get it.
Let's go. Like they said, the dogs is in, Clemson Tigers is in, my boy Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma is in, and also the controversial pick, Alabama. So we got to start in on that one. Mr. Goat, how you feel about Alabama getting in?
Oh, you gonna start with me?
Yes,
Man, look here.
sir.
Let me tell y'all something. Nick Saban is Mr. One call, that's all. He told them boys I need to get in there, and they let them in there. It's just as simple, it's just as simple as plain as that. But just in all seriousness, I believe that Ohio State, their schedule was stronger than Alabama's, but at the same time, these folks just put in who they wanted to put in. Like, let's just be clear. You're not going to go on strength of schedule because Ohio State has that. You're not going to go on what have you done for me lately because they just beat a team that was ranked higher than them and was not supposed to beat them. Because I've never seen a team that is idle move up. Boy, they moved up.
Yeah, yeah,
Alabama
very
was idle
interesting.
and moved up. And then also we've seen the committee juice up the ranking of Mississippi State, and they juiced up the ranking of LSU to help Alabama's poor schedule look even better than it was. Let's be clear: we all seen Bama all year. We knew that this is a talented team, but at the end of the day, you had three teams representing the SEC. At the end, they was the third team, but they was on the outside looking in. I felt like and Wisconsin needed to win. We wouldn't even have the discussion. But I also felt like Ohio State needed to blow Wisconsin out, and they didn't get that done either. So they opened the door wide open for Nick Saban being the best one-loss team in the country to get in.
Okay, Jeremy Flanagan, I know you're ecstatic because your Bulldogs are also in. I need you to talk to me about it. How do you feel about the Alabama Crimson Tide getting the nod for the fourth team in the championships?
Well, shouts out to Georgia Bulldogs. Shouts out to Kirby Smart. Shouts out to Roquan Smith. Shouts out to Jake Fromm, the whole team. But to the question at hand, Alabama was going to be in regardless, even if Wisconsin would have beat Ohio State. The way the committee said,
Wow.
they look at the full body of work and how they know Alabama is going to show up and be consistent in playing in the playoff. That's why they gave. That's why they gave Alabama the bid over
Well, real
any
quick,
other
hey,
team
Blueprint.
because of the lack of what the Big Ten brings to the table.
Well, Blueprint, talk to me. You said about the body of work. Now, it's well known, or it's a thought that most people have that the SEC is down this year. And like D. Burt said earlier, LSU lost to Troy, yet they end up as the 19th best overall team. Mississippi State, they had as 16. So when you talk about body of work, how do you feel the Alabama's body of work measures against Ohio State's?
We're just not talking about this season in particular. What they talk body of work is they know when if they plug in Alabama into the playoff, they're not going to get whooped when they besides like how State last year, for instance, when you had Ohio State and Penn State. What happened in that game? The Big Ten title game. D. Burks, what happened in that game in the Big Ten
Hey,
title game?
I'm just gonna put this like this. I ain't worried
They
about
don't want.
because I just felt like you just disrespected my main man, Urban Meyer. When he get in there, he get buckets. Am I right or wrong?
That was only in 2014.
Hey, and who he beat?
That was only in 2014.
Man, that was just
He's been there. How many times have he been there?
That was 2 seasons ago. Urban Meyer have been in the national championship 3 times. Once with Ohio State, twice with Florida. He undefeated. When he see Nick Saban,
how many times has he been in the college football playoff?
1. They ain't had but 3.
And how many times have they had a losing season though? How many times have they been on the edge of a losing season? With losing more than 1 game. I'm saying with losing more than 1 game, they squeaking into the college football playoff. Ohio.
All I know is last time Urban Meyer was in there, he played Alabama, and Alabama was the 1 seed. That's Zeke Elliott what he did to them boys.
That was only in 2014. What
That was
I'm saying
2014, Jeremy.
Why should we be talking about an Ohio State team this year who lost by 31 and got 55 points put on them? We're not going to ever see that from an Alabama squad.
Let me get in there.
Hey, fellas, hold it.
From an Alabama squad, when Alabama don't play those caliber of team or that quality of team. Let's just be clear. Mississippi State and LSU were both average teams. The only team
so Iowa is what is Iowa?
Was Auburn, them, and us.
What is Iowa?
What is Iowa? Hold on.
I'll tell you what Iowa is. Iowa is the owner of the #1 strength and schedule in this country. That's who they are. They're the #1 strength and schedule in the country. That's who Iowa is.
Hey, fellas, real quick. Y'all making some good points. Y'all making some real good points. But Courtney, I'm gonna ask you: should what you did last year, should it even matter about what you're doing this year?
So listen, let me tell y'all how this goes. Y'all right on both sides. Ohio State, I don't even think Ohio State was supposed to get in anyway. I would have rather see Auburn in there. I think losing Iowa the way they lost to Iowa, they shouldn't be in there because they got obliterated. Especially after they knocked off Penn State, who would have been in that Wisconsin role had that loss not happened.
Hey, Court, can I add something to what you just said?
Hold on. I got you. Hold on. Now, as far as what Jeremy talking about, Alabama being consistently good over the last couple of years is not a reason to make them go into the playoff. That's not what the playoff was built for. If that was the case, you could have left it the way it was. The playoff The playoffs was built about the 4 best teams. I know Alabama didn't play no goddamn body. I know that. I know Auburn played much more stiffer competition than them, had to play them and play Georgia twice.
And Clemson.
Had a harder schedule than that. There's people who had a harder schedule than Alabama. Hold on, I got you, D-Bird. Stop. I know Alabama did not play the hardest schedule out of those 4 teams that are in there right now. Out of the people that they put out. There was other people who played harder schedules.
Like your team.
I know that for a fact.
But it's not. Everything is not about strength of schedule.
I didn't say it was. I didn't make this about strength of schedule. All I'm doing is counteracting. So hold on. Let me make my point. Y'all can't cut me off. Let me make my point. Because what you about to say right now, you about to throw yourself in another hole. First you said it's because they've been consistently good over the years. Now you're saying, I know we're not talking about just strength of schedule, but now you're saying just best team. So now you just don't go who got the most talent.
No, I didn't.
Deserves to be in the playoffs.
I say everything is not sold into strength of schedule. It's not all about
into, bro. If they made it, that's how they supposed to got it. They didn't make it off winning the conference championship. Did they make it off winning the conference championship? No, we did that.
When you cut the TV on and you watch Alabama, you know Alabama is more superior than anybody who stepped on the football field with them.
That is not proven. That is not a proven fact. That is all speculation. What you just said.
Can I ask you something?
That is guaranteed, man.
Jeremy,
did they lose to Auburn? Did they lose to Auburn?
Jeremy,
did they lose to Auburn? Did they lose to Auburn?
To prove.
Of course, they lost to Auburn.
And they lost to Auburn.
Did they lose to Clemson last year in the Big?
Hold on. You mean to tell me Ohio State would have went to Jordan Hare would have beat Auburn?
That's not what we're talking about here.
Y'all gotta stop that. But that's what we're talking about.
So I got a question. Is Clemson better than Alabama?
I just want to ask Jay one question, Court.
Is Clemson better than Alabama? Has Clemson been better than Alabama the last 3 years?
all the other times that Nick Saban has won a national championship, all the other times he don't won a national championship, you trying to tell me that he ain't never went into Auburn and won a game? That what you trying to tell me?
I didn't say that.
I'm just asking you a question.
I said this season, who would have went and would Ohio State go into Jordan-Hare and
That's not the question.
In Jordan-Hare.
What you're doing is a hypothetical. You said that Bama, that's not hypothetical. Ohio State. We're talking about Bama. Bama supposed to bang. It don't matter who they supposed to play. They supposed to bang, and they got banged, right or wrong. They got banged. They got beat.
There's no question. There's no question that they got beat. But what I'm saying is, hey, that loss to Auburn is way more significant than what Ohio State has done, because look at what Auburn has done throughout the season.
I've never seen an idle team.
Excuse me, I didn't argue. You're arguing D. Burt's point. My point was Auburn's supposed to be in over both of them. Now tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I will say this, Courtney.
Auburn is supposed to be in over Alabama and Ohio State. Tell me I'm wrong.
Man, stop, man.
Auburn has has 3 losses.
Auburn, they do have 3 losses, but if we're talking about the best teams, which I thought this was,
he said the best team.
Auburn played number 1 Alabama, beat them. Played number 1 Georgia, beat them. Played Georgia again, lost, and lost to Clemson by 6. How's this team not one of the best?
Very good point.
But we arguing for Ohio State. But we arguing for Ohio State that lost to Iowa.
A loss to Georgia in the SEC. That loss, if they would have beat Georgia, then guess what? They would have locked themselves in.
No, it's not no.
Oh, so wait. D-Burst. Hold on, Jeremy. Hold on, Jeremy.
Let me finish before you make your point, because I know where you're going with this. BCS, we say that we need an 18 playoff. It's already a playoff going.
We don't want to talk about an 18 playoff. We're talking about 14 right now. I got a question for you.
When you talk about the Power 14, they're already a mini playoff that's already going. Auburn would have won if Auburn would have beat Georgia. If Auburn would have beat Georgia, if Auburn would have beat Georgia.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Jeremy. I have a simple question for you, Jeremy. Yes or no? This is all I need from you, right? If Auburn would have beat Georgia, they would have locked themselves in, right? So what you're telling me is Auburn would have had to beat Georgia twice and Alabama and beat Clemson in order to be in. But Alabama don't got to beat nobody that was ever a fucking number 1 all year. And they just get in because they are good, right? They don't got to play good people. They just got to be good. They just got to be that talented. That's it they need to get in, right?
That's what he's saying.
Yes or no?
This is what I'm saying.
Okay, cool.
That's
all I needed.
The way the season played out.
We didn't ask you about the season. I asked you a simple question, yes or no.
That is the cards that Auburn were dealt.
Yes. So again, I'm asking you.
If LSU, think about it. If you wouldn't have lost to LSU, then guess what? You wouldn't have been having this conversation. Let's go back to the LSU loss.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. They would have been having the conversation. They would have been having the conversation because they beat Bama. They beat Bama, dog. Like you can't act like these 2 teams did not go head to head. One was undefeated. Bama had 1 job.
And guess what? And guess what? Bama got 1 loss. Clemson got a loss to Syracuse.
Clemson lost to Syracuse, and they've been whooping ass ever since.
Listen, fellas.
Hey, he compared. Wait. He compared the Syracuse loss. He compared the Syracuse loss to an Auburn loss.
You keep signing up for Nick Saban. For Nick Saban's sake, he better hope Dabo Swinney don't beat him again. He better hope he don't beat him again.
Well, I hope this. I hope that people are enjoying what they're seeing. This is Fresh Perspective. We bringing it to you live. We bringing it to you raw. We coming near the end of the show. I will say this, fellas. All you guys have made phenomenal points. But to D. Bird's point, when you have an idle team that lost to a team that was in the championship head to head is idle, and the politicking from the coach. He was on game day. He was telling everybody that would listen his Crimson Tide belonged belongs in this championship. And you know what? They agreed with him. So now we coming up to our final perspective. Hey, Blueprint, you on fire today. What's your final perspective on this whole situation with Alabama getting in?
This is my final perspective. At the end of the day, I'd rather see Alabama playing in the playoff than Ohio State because of what I seen from Ohio State in the Wisconsin game. Ohio State was not as good as I thought Ohio State would be. They just wasn't. They didn't jump off the screen to me at all. I'd rather see Alabama. They make the game more interesting. And at the end of the day, I hope it's Alabama who beat Clemson, so Georgia could get in that ass and win the national championship beating Alabama. That's what I want.
All right, cool. And now, since we're talking about suppositories and all that good stuff, you know what? I'm going to save you for last. Mr. Young and Talented, get some. How do you feel about this?
I feel just like this, since now I understand that most of those people were that was in that office and that committee that came up with this playoff and put Bama in. They're thinking like Jeremy. They're wishful. They're hopeful. They want to see Georgia do something so bad. But the problem is, like D-Bird said already, Dabo got his card anyway. He should have beat him the first time. He came back healthy, beat him the second time, and now he's going to go for the hat trick and beat the hell out of him a third time with a whole new quarterback. And then that's all Dabo got to do. Dabo can end Nick Saban by winning this game. Because then you no longer just going to keep throwing him in the game champion and the playoff just because of his name and the talent pool he got. Because you can't tell me he the best of the best. And it's a dude out here in the ACC smashing on him each and every year.
Awesome point. Now, great orator and tactician, please take us home.
Well, this is the thing that bothers me the most is that they have allowed Nick Saban to campaign his way into this tournament. All he had to do was do one thing and one thing only. He's supposed to be the biggest, baddest team coach in the country. He had to go into Auburn and do the unthinkable. No, Georgia didn't do it, but we weren't supposed to be the best team in the country. Worried. No, they say that is the Roll Tide Alabama Crimson Tide coached by the one Nick Saban, and he went in there and got out coached, got out played, and got beat. Y'all act like Urban Meyer is just some cupcake coach. He got 3 championships as well. And last time he seen Nick Saban in the first playoff, Zeke Elliott and company put it on him. But we're not going to even talk about that. Ohio State, they did have a letdown. They didn't beat Wisconsin. Like I think they should have beat them. They would have beat them soundly. They would have got in easily. But because that was a game and it came down to the last play of the game, they're going to go with the easier pick in Bama. And I think they also is trying to save face because we all know that the ratings are going to be higher for Clemson and Alabama opposed to Clemson and Ohio State, because I do think Clemson was going to beat Ohio State very sound.
And you make a very strong point, and I know it's at the end of the show, but we got to be honest about the ratings. We got to be honest about the fan base. And D. Burt, you and I were talking earlier, Ohio State does travel well.
Tell the people what I told you earlier, Hawk, about the fact that Alabama is in, and they're going to reward them with the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, how about that? Now listen.
Has to travel further than the 4th.
And that's like a home game, but see, that's the fans tipping the tide. Nobody. I mean, we could get into the numbers and everything, but let's be honest. Alabama travels well. They move the needle, and actually the fan base is getting rewarded more so than Nick Saban. But all of you guys covered, a lot of important people. But I want to talk about my man Baker Mayfield. I personally believe you're the best quarterback in the country, and it's time for you to show it. Them dogs are nothing to play with. So Baker Mayfield, you got to bring your A game. I'm picking OU to beat Georgia. I'm picking Clemson to beat Alabama, and I'm picking OU to be national championships. Go Baker Mayfield.
That'll be tough.
All right, y'all.
That'll make him the number one player in the draft for sure.
All right. And
he's from Baltimore, so I expect a Baltimorean to make a consensus speak like that.
Don't talk to him like that. He not us. He not the Falcons. When he come up there, he get wins.
Hey, Jeremy, that was a hell of a point. No, hold on. Jeremy, that was a hell of a point. I did not know that boy was from Baltimore. Now I know
Hold on. Baker Mayfield from Baltimore.
Hold on. Now I
apologize, Jeremy. I apologize.
Now I know why Irv over there with the pom-poms. I get it, but I got one for Irv.
Yeah.
I get it now. I didn't know that. But see, now, since you over there with the pom-poms and y'all playing this tough thing, I'm going to watch Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield go win a national championship. Baker Mayfield will be a New York Giant. I could book that right now. He'll be a Giant. He'll go win. So
let's talk about
Baker
these
Mayfield,
Giants.
Call me the milkman, because we coming. We coming. Them dogs are coming.
Hey, fellas, we going to talk about the Giants in the next segment. Peace and blessings, world.